interview today with Principal Paul Stewart from Valley View Charter in Dorado Hills. So keep an eye out for him to be joining us. Happy Tuesday. I hope this wild weather we've been having, we're getting some sun, some rain, it's kind of crazy for the end of May. School's almost over. You can kind of feel that charge in the air as, you know, the kids get excited and antsy for summer, but yet we're kind of experiencing some unusual weather patterns right now where it feels a little bit more like winter than it does spring. But we'll get there. Summer will come and it'll be warm and sunny and hot before we know it. So really excited today for our interview with Paul Stewart, and a great friend of mine, and just an overall really amazing human being. I think the kids that go to Valley View are so incredibly lucky to have him as their principal. I certainly would have loved to have had him as my principal. He's just a really caring, kind, compassionate individual who really, really loves what he does, and you can tell by the fun that they have at the school. So I can't wait to dive in with, you know, Paul and, you know, all the great curriculum and activities that they do at the school that really bring so much fun, life, and learning to the Montessori program that they have there. So thanks for joining us today. And hey, Carrie, how's it going? You're just in time for our interview with Mr. Stewart. I love it. So, you're gorgeous. I love you. Thank you for joining us. So Paul should be on here soon. Mr. Stewart should be hopping on any minute with our Valley View. I know, I'm really, really pumped. He's such an awesome human. I think it's going to be a lot of fun talking with him this afternoon. So thanks for all of you that are joining us. I'm just kind of keeping an eye here for Mr. Stewart to pop on so we can get our interview going. How's your day, everybody? If you're just popping on, drop some thumbs up, drop a little comment below, or send some love and hearts so we can have a nice warm welcome for Mr. Stewart as he joins us here. I'm hoping he doesn't have any connection issues. Sometimes it can, like our last video that was on my end. But we had a joy. Mr. Stewart, hello. Okay, why am I not able to join with him? There we go. Let's see. Okay, now, Paul, all you have to do is just accept our invitation to join us.
Does that work?
You're good. Yeah, no, turn it back. There we go.
Okay.
Hold it.
Oops. And
yes.
There.
Yeah, awesome. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, so thanks for joining us. I was just telling the few people that are watching, and then of course it's going to go out all over YouTube. So if you guys are just joining us, wave hi to Mr. Stewart. He's joining us from Valley View Charter School in Dorado Hills, and we're super happy to have him today. So I know you had an open house yesterday at the school, and with
tonight,
full of days left, it's pretty crazy. So thanks for being here.
Of course. Good to see you.
Yeah, so tell everyone a little bit about yourself and what inspired or led you to your teaching career.
Well, I think it really started with my mom. She was a teacher in Placerville. She started at El Dorado High School, and she taught Spanish and geometry. And so I'd tag along with her during the summers and saw the gift that she brought to education. And then I started off, teaching, and then all of a sudden one of my administrators said I'd be a good principal. So I started becoming an assistant principal at Oak Meadow, which is just down the road from Valley View. And then started at Blue Oak, which is in Cameron Park. And then we opened up this school here in Valley View, and we're 2 years into it. So it's really just the love of teaching and the love of, not only the students, but of empowering the adults too, to be educators and spreading the joy of teaching.
Absolutely, because it really starts at home, and then
Exactly.
right, you can only do so much during the time you have the kids. So those of you that are joining us, drop a note, say hi, and then send some love and hearts to our guest today, Mr. Stewart from Valley View Charter. So I love that, Paul. I didn't know that your mom was a teacher. So right, you kind of watch the magic happen and her,
Yeah.
be able to inspire others. So that's really amazing. So for those that might not know, can you briefly explain, as briefly as, it doesn't have to be terribly brief, but the Montessori method, because it's a little bit more unique, that teaching, and how you apply that to the students at Valley View?
Yeah, so we're a blend of a traditional school and a Montessori school. So we take the best of both worlds. We take the best of a traditional school and the best of a Montessori school. Montessori school is a really lot of hands-on teaching, learning by doing. And we have things called jobs in the classrooms where we might stand up in front of the class and might teach a math lesson. And if a student already grasps that concept, we just have them sit there and learn it. We have them go on by themselves and go on to a Montessori job and extend their learning as far as they need to go. So if they're in a first grade classroom and they're well beyond what they know in first grade, they can go on to second grade concepts. So really you just kind of follow the child in their own learning. So that goes all the way from first grade all the way to 8th grade is what we have here. So if you go into like our classroom, you would see students on the floor even. You'll see them on laptops, and you'll see them doing all sorts of things. But it's really following their learning where they are, and then actually showing them the different ways that they can grow in their education.
Yes, I love the Montessori method. Two of my kids went to preschool, Montessori preschool.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, we didn't get to continue. We didn't get the lottery. We didn't get that lucky.
Oh
so.
yeah.
So I appreciate the Montessori method, and it really allows the kid, like you said, to be able to move past, whatever level they need to, or if they need to stay where they are, or even, have some extra time and help, that's there for them. So I think really awesome. Yeah. So I would say, so for those, this is going to go out everywhere. So those that may be watching this at a later date, that might be doing some research on local schools and, looking at overall scoring, the size of the student body, the teacher to student ratio. Can you share with us some of those stats? I know that's going to be important. You already kind of mentioned I think you said 1st through 8th there.
Yeah. Actually, we have a preschool campus on our site. So we actually have like little guys with us. And then I have kids that go up to my knee, and then I have 8th graders that go up to about, some of them actually up to my eyes. So it's really neat to have such a diversity on our campus. But every school gets rated upon their scores by the state. And then all schools also have their internal ratings to what they do themselves, their internal assessments. What Montessori does is they assess every single day. So you have each job that you complete or each assignment, you assess them too. So you have internal assessments. And then each school, it depends on how they select their class size, really depends on their district. So what we do is that like K or TK through 3rd grade, the class sizes can go up to 28, that ours really hover around 24. Then once you get to 3rd through really 5th grade, they can go up to 32. Ours really have around 28, and then middle school is a whole different ball game. They can go up to 35. So you always try and keep them as low as possible. But I would say whenever you check the scores at schools, like if you're just checking a different score, it's always nice to go on the campus and really get a feel for the campus and talk to parents. They're going to give you the true story. Yeah,
I think that's super, super important, is to be able to have a campus tour. And we'll talk about that later on, because I think that's key to really knowing. The numbers look great online, but once you get there, sometimes the vibe and the feel at the school might not be
so important.
You're looking for, right?
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, which leading to cool vibe, I will have to say, I think you're one of the coolest principals around and in town. I was saying earlier, if I had a principal, I would have, cool principal, I would have wanted it to be you. So, so tell us how you keep things fun, while also being able to foster that balance of rules, respect, and learning.
So it is very key, that whole balance. And because you have to have the rules, you have to have the respect. But I think the key is really relationships, and relationships with the students, relationships with the staff, relationships with the parents. And with that comes trust. And so when you have a student that comes in your office, if they make a mistake, you're not, really you never yell at them, you never scream at them. It's more of a talk, and it's a talk why they made the mistake. So they really understand when they leave their office, why'd you call them in there? And so when they go back out into the recess or back into the classroom, they fully understand that they're not going to make that mistake again. And when you call the parents really understand too why they made the trip to the office. The other thing that we really do hear a lot is, I think, is that my assistant principal, Mr. Frame, and I go into the classrooms quite a bit and push in, so they're not coming out to us. And we really get to put ourselves in there and build those relationships so that the students see us quite a bit, and not always negative, but as a positive thing too. And so you'll see us fist bumping and putting our, giving high fives and stuff. That really helps too with the vibe. But we do try and make it a fun place. But when we have to hold the line, we hold the line for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. There's an awesome picture on the website of you like riding down the school on your bike.
Oh, yeah.
Kids are like, yeah, Mr. Stewart.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, so it's just kind of putting that element of being personable to them. We had a really great principal when the girls were in elementary school, and she was super interactive, and she made herself present, at roll call and all those things, and it really helped foster, like you say, that relationship with kids, because I feel like they respect you, they look up to you, and you don't come off as, you're going to lay down the law when you need to, but you're also, approachable. And I think that makes a huge difference for the kids, and really great role models. So I think it's awesome that you do that.
Good.
Yeah. So something that many in our community may not know, is, hold on one second, is some of the programs that you offer at the school, like the Garden of Learning.
Oh, yeah.
You guys have visual and performing arts, you have a band, sports teams, and more recently you guys created STEM, which is the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics program.
Right.
So if you want to touch on some of those, programs and how they help the students grow, or the benefits of those, and then at what grade level are some of those programs introduced to the students?
Sure. I think the whole message behind every one of those is it gets everyone beyond the four walls of a classroom, so to speak. And so like the Garden of Learning is a very Montessori topic. And so the kids really understand how to go beyond, or they learn how to put seed to the table. So they actually get in the dirt, they plant the seed, they see it grow, and then we actually teach them what happens when it goes to the store, and then they actually eat it. And that's K through 8. And kindergarten has their own garden. We have their own garden. And then today, like at each open house, they actually do a farmer's market. And they sell the goods. Then we use all that money to replant the garden and the curriculum that we use. The STEAM Lab's amazing. That is the whole idea of the STEAM Lab, is to really find, do students have a passion for science, technology, engineering, art, or math? And just keep having them tap into these little areas to find where is their passion lay. And then once you find that passion, have them keep fostering it. And it's really hands-on experiments. And we have both of those are parent run. So it's, and grandparents, we have a lot of grandparents too that really come out there and they do those. And it's, the curriculum's all developed, and they come in and they learn the curriculum for about a couple of days, and then the parents run them. And then teachers more stand back and do classroom management. So it gives parents a really neat niche on our campus.
Yeah.
And visual arts, performing arts, we do a Valley View News each week, where it's like a news broadcast that they watch in their classroom. It gives students a chance to kind of display their TV personalities online, and then everybody gets the same message each week in their classroom. So those are some of the fun things we do.
Yeah, no, I think that's really great. Plus, I think it also exposes the kids to maybe concepts and studies that they might not have realized they enjoyed, especially in the STEM program, or STEAM program, I should say. Is it STEM or STEAM?
Well, it started out as STEM, and then like in the last couple of years, they've been adding that A for arts.
A for the arts. Okay, I thought I saw that, but I was like, maybe I was, just misreading. Yeah. Okay, awesome.
Right.
Yeah, so it kind of, I think it's really great, because I think you've probably seen where kids they're unsure, and then they really start blossoming into some, a subject or an aspect of one of those topics that they didn't really necessarily know that they enjoyed, until
exactly.
That. So I love that. That's the beauty of school and education. Right? So you also offer programs like GATE, and that's a curriculum for the students. What does that entail for students who pass the OLSAT?
So the OLSAT is the test that we use to distinguish if a student is GATE or not GATE. And so a GATE student is really a student that kind of thinks outside of that box. So when they qualify for GATE, which you have to be 3rd grade and up, then we offer a course after school, and we really want to then work with that student to have activities that really help them foster that kind of thinking. So we do a lot of CSI units, like set up a crime scene, and see if they can figure out how to solve that. Or like the escape rooms that are real popular nowadays, yes. Something like that. We really have those type of things. We have robotics in the STEAM lab. So we'll set up maybe a course for that robot to finish, and then we'll present the student with the robot, and then they have to code it and program it into the computer, and then they'll have to finish that with the robot. So it's really trying to almost have them think through a process first on paper, and then use the device like a robot or CSI or something like that to really solve the problem. But that's how you got to really work with those GATE students.
Right. Yeah, really kind of challenge them to continue to think outside the box creatively and challenge their mind. So, and who doesn't love some CSI crime?
I know.
An escape room. I've done an escape room once. We did not escape. I'll just.
You didn't?
I might have to get some of your students. Help me out. So, share with us some unique events that happen throughout the year, because you have your standard curriculum, but I also know you guys do a lot of different things to kind of shake things up and keep things interesting and creative. So.
Today was a really neat thing. Our 5th grade teachers, I think this might have been the first time at Valley View. It might have been the first time in their school district. We Skyped to Monticello, Thomas Jefferson's house. So we Skyped with the curator there. And what we did is they studied Thomas Jefferson, the Declaration of Independence, and they got to see what his house looked like. What they got to see, ask all the questions about Thomas Jefferson and play a little quiz game with her, and then actually use Google Street View to walk inside the house. So everything that they learned through the books and everything, then they got to see in real life today. And that was really cool for them, and to see their technology really work. So that's what they did in 5th grade today, and that was really cool just today. We had STEAM Day earlier this year. So using everything in our STEAM lab, we brought everything into the MP room, and they had a STEAM Day where everything was STEAM related. We had a science fair that was really much like that, and the kids' science fair was really cool. Bike to school and walk to school day are really neat. I think the things that we try and do at our school too is to get everybody, like I said earlier, kind of outside of those 4 walls and show them all the learning that could take place in real life. We do a number of field trips. I think 3 of my favorite are, in 4th grade, we do overnight in Coloma, which is Living History Day because you study 4th grade. 5th grade, we do outdoor ed, where we go to San Francisco and into the Redwoods. And 8th grade next year, we're going to Yosemite for 5 days and 4 nights, where we get to dive into science in Yosemite and really dive into that. 2 things we took on this year were parent education nights, because we really want to educate the parents, on things that are going on in our middle school or elementary school. So we did a vaping night at Rolling Hills, and we just did a night the other night called Screenagers. And so we know that the students of all ages are on their phones or their iPads or whatever all the time. So how do we work with our kids on how to get off the phone as much and get engaged in real life and at the dinner table or out when they're outside? And so this was for parents to help navigate that situation. And then we showed it to our students so that they could go home and have discussions with their parents.
Correct. And understand where their parents are coming from. That's so important, because I think you've touched on a couple of really important things. I think, showing the benefit and how amazing by streaming, right? Live streaming and Skyping and being able to connect coast to coast, which there's no way we could have done that 10 years ago.
I know.
So that, there's the aspect of technology that is so powerful and when used right, really helps us learn and expand our mind. And then there's the time, right, like you say, screen time, where there's too much screen time and there's not enough interaction. And how do you help kids? Because I don't think they're too young to understand, and even us as adults can get very addicted to our devices and our phones, and you're like, where's my phone? You have this panic attack. So it's really up to us to help guide the children as to what are the limits, and then human interaction at the end of the day is the most important, at least to me, and I'm sure you probably agree.
Yeah.
that is the ultimate component, that makes us, kind, compassionate people. We can't get emote to our devices, and they can't love us back. So
true.
That's awesome class. How was that received? Was it?
It was received really well. The parents that came to that night were, they felt like they had tools now to talk to their children with. They asked for some other nights. It was really interesting that watching the kids at the assembly, they were all focused. And because I think the kids that were telling the story were about their same age up on the screen. And then as I was asking questions afterwards to some of the students, in the assembly, they had great answers. And so we actually, some of the students, we have a debate team. And so the debate that they want to do next is, should cell phones be allowed at Valley View? And so, our policy is no, they can't have them out. They have to be in their backpacks. But we're just going to debate and see how it goes, and see if they're, I'll be curious now after seeing this, will their opinion change?
Right. Yeah. No, that's going to be an interesting thing to kind of track and see. And I also think it's very interesting. Hi, all of you that are joining us. I know there's lots of people who've popped in and to say hello to Mr. Stewart. So very kind of you guys. I really think that's going to be an interesting topic to kind of track and follow, to see, it's nice to see the impact that it resonates with the kids, and that there's other, kids saying, hey, these were my situations.
Yeah.
And the benefits of hopefully, breaking some of those habits. So
I agree.
So you guys have a really great website with lots of information. How can parents schedule a tour? So circling back to that, scheduling a tour of the school or sign their student up to attend. What is the process?
So starting in November, we have scheduled tours every month, and we'll usually have about 10 to 15 parents on the tour. And then right around now is when we don't have them, because we're starting to, the end of the year. But if a parent has any questions or anything at all, what they usually do is email me, and they meet with me one-on-one. And that's where we have our discussion. And then I usually take them around school. So it's more of a one-on-one basis right now.
Right.
And they would just find my name on the website, and they would just email me from there. But that's the best way right now. If they know any parents here, the other way is just to talk to parents here, and the parents will tell you, their opinion of the school and everything like that.
Okay. And then when you are, say, going in November, what does the school tour entail?
Oh, that's a good question. So the tour is really, what we do is we have a PowerPoint of the whole school. It's Mr. Frame and I, and we go over basically the questions you asked today, like what is Montessori? What is our school, for example? What's the difference between a true Montessori school and maybe ours, and the blended part of it that I went over? What's technology look like, and we, at our school versus other schools? And then what does it look like in the middle school years? And so we go over all that. And then what we do is we have tours from kindergarten all the way up to 8th grade, so they can see the gamut and really stretch all the way through. So it's nice to see that progression. So we do those tours, and then we come back for just Q&A, and that lasts probably about 45 minutes.
Okay, awesome. And they can sign up, they can connect with you, or they can sign up directly on the website for the November tours.
Yeah, right? They would connect with the secretaries. And starting in November, they would talk with the secretaries, and they sign them up. Okay,
gotcha.
Yeah,
I love it. Oh, we've got some fans. We've got some fans here, Mr. Stewart. Everybody loves you. Is there anything else about the school that maybe we didn't touch on that you think that you would like to kind of share with us, or
I think there's two things that are real, I guess, kind of neat that we're doing next year. One is, I don't know if you've heard of IB schools or International Baccalaureate, but we're the first in the Camarado Middle School and our school are the first in our county to do it. And there's IB middle schools, IB high schools, and so we're going to add that layer to Valley View. And that's a pretty prestigious thing that we're doing here. And then we're actually adding in PBIS, which is positive behavior intervention support. And that really, what that does is that gets everyone from our parents to students to yard supervisors to secretaries to teachers all on the same page for climate and culture. And we just put out a video just on how to line up at recess. And it was actually real funny, but it just gets everyone on the same page. And like when the bell rings at recess now, all the students kneel. And it's really amazing that to see the bell ring, all the students kneel down, and then when the whistle blows, they just walk to the line and line up. And it's just like organized, and the students are just doing amazing. I think that too, we have the most amazing students. They are so polite, so caring, and every day I get blown away by how just, I guess, their empathy. And sometimes I don't think kids at this age have empathy, but I get to see it every day, so that blows me away.
Yeah, well, I think that stems from your staff fostering that and showing that level of caring and respect to one another as well as to the students. So I think that's more of an approach that it becomes environmental as well.
Yeah,
so,
we have
and
amazing.
Of course at home, right? So
yeah.
So it just start at school, but that's pretty amazing. So can you dig deeper into the IB program for those that might not know what it might entail?
Sure. So IB is international, so it goes around the world. And really what it will do is, for Valley View, what it will do is I guess it's better to explain it maybe like in third grade, you teach thematically. So all your language arts, your social studies, your science, your math could all blend together. It could all be in the theme. But when you go to middle school sometimes, or even high school, your English teacher might be teaching one way, your science teacher be another way, social studies, and math teacher. So IB is going to bring everything thematically together. So if we're teaching critical thinking in language arts, we're going to make sure that that standard is also hit by social studies, science, and even in math with word problems. So really we're bringing all our teachers together like in that PBIS way to climate culture, but also academically in IB. The other thing that's really nice is IB also has a foreign language component where everyone takes Spanish from 6th grade to 8th grade, no matter what. So it's no longer an elective. That's like a requirement. So everyone gets a foreign language, which I think is amazing. And then the way we look at electives now is we look at them through a design aspect, kind of like I was talking about STEAM, is that you look at how it was almost like the garden of learning that I was telling you about, how a seed goes from the garden to the table. So if we're looking at engineering, we're looking at how one thing like a car has a structure, but then how does it get built? So we're really looking at the whole process of things, which is very Montessori anyways.
Yes, that sounds incredible, and that's pretty amazing. And that starts next year, or is that
starting
now?
That'll start next year, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we've got someone who's saying they graduated a full semester early because of IB credits from high school. So that's
it's really good. Yeah,
and it helps with going to college. You've got Dawn P saying hello. You've got Morgan in there. You've got a lot of people there supporting you, saying hi and sending some hearts. So that was a really exciting share and something that I didn't know about. So I think parents and students should be very, very excited about the up and coming IB programs coming their way. So as we kind of wrap up, thank you again, Paul, for just being here and sharing about the school and your passion and teaching and students. So lastly, why do you love where you live?
Well, a lot of reasons. And I mean, Cameron Park, so school's in Dorado Hills, so I can share about that in a second, but Cameron Park I love because I am so close to Folsom Lake, which I love to paddleboard, and I love to run, and I love to mountain bike. So I leave from my house, and I just, within 5 minutes, I have Browns Ravine and Folsom. My brother lives in Lake Tahoe, and it takes me an hour to go up to the snow or up to the mountains. And then the city, or San Francisco, is just 2.5 hours away. And then if you go the other way towards like Chico and there, you have that within an hour and a half. So everything at my fingertips from where we live. And then Andrea found us an amazing house. I mean, I love the Victorian house. Where else you don't really find those in Cameron Park. So I do like that. And then Dorado Hills, where the school is at, is simply amazing. I mean, I know we've had a great spring, but the Green Hills, that is to die for. I love that. So I can be happy where we live.
Yeah. I think where we live is probably one of the most ideal locations as well, just in terms of you could be anywhere within a couple hours and be somewhere totally new, and it's amazing. And if you love to be outside and enjoy the outdoors, like this is really the place to be. I totally couldn't agree more. I think we might have a question, so I'm just gonna get my mug a little bit closer. So someone said, I'm going to an IB school in middle school. Does that help anything with your grades?
It helps with college, if that's the questions about college. Like you can put IB school on your transcript. Like if you're in IB middle school or high school, yeah, it's kind of similar to like AP classes. So it does help with college. It depends on what high school they're going to, but it will help with college.
Yeah. So, but like with the AP class, I know, especially in high school, it boosts the GPA overall. So do the IB classes do the same thing, or is it just kind of an extra asset on your college application?
It's kind of both. In high school level, in which I'm not total expert in high school level, I know more middle school, but from what I understand with high school and IB, is they're kind of similar as far as AP and IB classes. So college will look at both of them when you turn in your transcripts to them, because some high schools are just IB, like in Sacramento, and so high schools will look at those differently. I mean, not colleges, sorry.
Sure, yeah. And then I think that would also help at the middle school level to be able to get into and transfer into maybe an AP class right into high school that maybe you wouldn't have been able to do. You'd have to take maybe something a little bit more standardized or take testing to get into. So I think it could potentially help in that regard as well in terms of placement in classes starting in school.
What did Luke ask?
Oh, what did he ask? Let's see. Did I miss Luke's question?
Something about summer break.
Where was it? Just recent?
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. Oh, someone said, what does a principal do over the summer break?
That's a good question. So summer break starts for the kids on June 5th. Summer break for me starts about June 25th. And then I go back on probably about July 25th. So I get about a month off. So I always try and do as much mountain biking and paddleboarding as I can, and then always one trip. So this year for our trip, we're going to go to Ireland, which will be amazing.
Oh.
That's our one big trip. But I always try and do one big trip, and then a whole bunch of little trips around California.
Yeah.
Do I miss Blue Oak? Of course I miss Blue Oak. And you know what's so funny is I had probably about 5 students today from Blue Oak, and that's from Molly. I missed email me today from Blue Oak, and they'll email me every once in a while and share their writing with me, and so I get to email back to the Blue Oak students, and some of the Blue Oak students went to Camerata, so of course I miss Blue Oak students.
Yes, and that is where I first knew you as a principal was at Blue Oak. So yeah. Yeah, so you said you only have 1 month of summer vacation, which that is news to me. So tell us what you do between the time the kids leave school on the 5th of June or thereabouts to you finally take off 20 days later. What kind of happens? What's the wrap up?
So what we do, so what we do is we get ready for the next school year. That's the biggest thing. So with middle school, there's 2 parts. You elementary. For middle
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, it is. And I know you're a wanted man. I know you've got somewhere else to go and somewhere else to be. So we'll take that knock as you needing to be in another meeting. So I know your time is super valuable. So you're missed by so many people I see on here. Mr. Stewart, it has been an absolute pleasure for you to be here to share with us all of the great experiences that happen at Valley View. You know, have a wonderful summer. Have a great time in Ireland, and keep inspiring. Keep doing what you do best, because you're really an amazing educator. So we're lucky to have you in our community. So if anyone wants to be, yeah, you're so welcome. Okay, yes, we will. Okay. Love Where You Live interview series. You can send us a direct message or connect with us. And we can get some, send you our calendar. We've got some additional businesses lined up here in the coming months. Starting in June, we are going to have Claudia Lowens with Word Flirt. So if you are looking to become a little bit more social savvy as a business entrepreneur, you're definitely going to want to tune into that the first Tuesday at 3 p.m. on right here on Instagram Live. So I hope you guys had a really great day, and thanks for joining us on our interview with Mr. Stewart, and thanks for sending him lots of love, and I know that probably really made his day. All right, guys, see you next time. Bye-bye.